Wouldn't it be awesome if everyone at work was amazing and you didn't have to deal with those people who make your job way harder than it actually needs to be? And you know who I'm talking about. They're the ones that don't respond to your emails. They argue with any suggestions you're trying to make. They're checking up on work that you are perfectly capable of handling on your own. This isn't a you problem necessarily. Everyone encounters difficult people at work, and I hate to say it, but they're not going anywhere either. But how you handle them can completely change your experience at work. I'm Tanya Andrews, and over the past decade, I have worked with hundreds of early career women from dozens of companies across industries like construction, mining, energy, and tech, who all have their fair share of difficult people. So in this video, what I want to do is give you a practical framework so that you can understand what's actually driving that difficult behavior. And then what you do is you adapt your approach so then you can get what you need while protecting your own boundaries and your energy and your sanity. But before we dive into the strategies, I want to acknowledge the complexities here, because this isn't black and white, especially if you're an early career woman in a male-dominated industry. You're still building your reputation at this point, so you're going to be hyper aware of being seen as being challenging or dramatic. You also might not have mentors or allies in place yet that could help you read the room or validate your experiences. Then there are gendered expectations. As women in these environments, you're expected to be likable or agreeable or low maintenance. And you can feel like there's pressure to just toughen up or brush it off or just get on with it. And here's the big one. The power imbalance is real. You may feel like you can't actually speak up about difficult people without risking your job or your relationships or future opportunities. And while all of these factors are real and definitely worth acknowledging, it's also important to separate the person from the pattern. So what I mean by that is, I want you to keep in mind that not all difficult people are bad people, okay? Sometimes it's clashing styles or unclear expectations or stress. There's a difference between someone who is frustrating versus someone who's inappropriate or unsafe. Understanding this difference is really key because it fundamentally changes how you respond. So what we're going to focus on today is how to handle the everyday difficult behaviors that really drain your energy and just make your job a lot harder than it needs to be. With that being said, let's jump in with where to start, and that involves defining first what kind of difficult you're up against. So difficult can look different depending on the situation, and when you know the type of difficulty, it's going to help you pick the right approach. So for example, are you dealing with someone who is inaccessible? They're not responding, they're vague, they're hard to pin down. Maybe it's someone who's argumentative. They push back on everything, they seem to debate you on every point. Maybe it's someone who's micromanaging. They're constantly checking and controlling all the little details. Or is it someone who is just downright disrespectful? They're interrupting conversations. They're talking over you. They're undermining you in front of others. Maybe it's someone who's unreliable. They're missing deadlines. They don't follow through when they say they will. While each of these require a different strategy, which we're going to go into, they all start with the same foundation. So when you're dealing with any of these types of difficult people, there's 3 core mindset and strategy shifts that are going to work regardless of the type of person, okay? So the first one, ask yourself, what do they actually want? If you can figure out clarifying their end goal, sometimes the difficulty is actually just stemming from poor communication on their part usually. And once you understand what they're really trying to achieve, everything actually becomes clearer, and then you can shape your message accordingly and you start to see that difficult behavior diffuse. Second, ask, what might they be afraid of or worried about? Are they worried about losing control or looking bad in front of people, missing deadlines? Fear often drives difficult behavior. When you can identify what's making them anxious, you can address that root cause instead of just reacting to the symptoms of their difficult behavior. And then thirdly, build understanding and then adapt. So this is about adjusting how you present information, or you make your requests, or sharing updates based on what's driving them. Now, it's not about changing who you are. It's about communicating in a way that works for both of you. Now, let me walk you through how this looks in practice for each of our different types. I'm going to start with dealing with someone inaccessible. So what do they actually want? More than likely, it's reduced pressure on their time, they want their staff to work independently, and they want work to fit around their schedule or rhythm, okay? So what are they worried about? They're probably worried about losing momentum, dropping the many plates that they're spinning or wasting time getting stuck in unnecessary detail. So how do you adapt to try to reduce the impact of this difficult behavior? So firstly, acknowledge you understand their time pressures. You reassure them that your goal is also to move both of your priorities forward and minimize the risk. Then, book short, focused meetings instead of relying on emails. You can use clear subject lines or bullet points so then they can respond quickly. Now, if you're dealing with someone argumentative, there's a high chance that they want to feel heard and respected. They're trying to test the strength of ideas before committing to them. They want to protect their own position or their expertise. Or maybe they don't have the same information that you do, and so they can't actually see where you're coming from. What are they worried about? Being wrong, losing credibility, wasting time on the wrong path, and maybe losing control of decision making. So, how do you adapt? Show that you've considered their perspective before offering yours. You frame your points as building on their ideas rather than competing with them, okay? You can use phrases like, one way we could also look at this. That helps bring down that defensiveness. If you're dealing with someone who micromanages, what they're really looking for is confidence that the work is going to meet their standards. They want a sense of control over outcomes and no surprises. They're usually worried about mistakes making them look bad, or missing deadlines or quality benchmarks, or maybe just losing oversight over the whole project. So to adapt, you need to acknowledge that need for detail and quality. You preempt with proactive updates before they chase you. Ask for clarity on priorities so you can focus on what matters to them first, and then share your progress in a way that gives them confidence without having to do those constant check-ins. If you're dealing with someone disrespectful, remember, first things first, you have every right to hold your boundaries, and you are never obligated to engage with behavior that crosses the line. Disrespect goes beyond being unavailable or unreliable. And in male-dominated spaces, especially for young women, it can chip away at that psychological safety, your dignity, and your credibility. If someone talks over you, belittles you, undermines you, you are well within your rights to walk away, call it out, bring in support, whatever protects you. Often, people who are acting in this way want to feel in control of the conversation or the space. They want to assert their authority, push their own agenda. Essentially, they're worried about being challenged or undermined, losing face in front of others, and maybe not being seen as the expert. So, how do you adapt in the moment? Stay calm. Calmly hold your ground without escalating. You use clear, assertive phrases like, I wasn't finished speaking, please let me finish my point. And you follow up those important contributions in writing so you make sure everything's documented. And lastly, if you're dealing with someone unreliable, it's likely they're trying to appear capable without being tied down to commitments. They're leaning a little too hard into flexibility and freedom in how they work, and they usually err on the side of preferring minimal accountability. They're worried about overcommitment, being blamed for delays or mistakes, and losing autonomy. So the best way to adapt to someone unreliable is really use writing. You want to confirm agreements in writing, break tasks into smaller, trackable steps so your progress is visible. Build in buffer time so you're not left exposed to their delays. And have some backup options ready so you can actually keep moving even if they drop the ball. The key takeaway here is that you are really going to benefit from tailoring your approach to the type of difficult you're dealing with. Start by understanding what they want, really look at what they're worried about, what they fear, and then that gives you the insight you need to work with them instead of up against them all the time. You can shape your communication so it works for both of you without sacrificing your boundaries, which is really important here. Remember, this isn't about becoming a people pleaser, and it's not about accepting bad behavior. It's about being strategic and protecting your energy while still getting things done. I've left a summary sheet that breaks down each of these strategies with specific examples in the description below. So this week, I want you to notice which type of difficult person you're dealing with the most. Try one targeted approach and see what happens. You've got this.